Welcome back to Ag Enterprise Management. I'm going to be your lecturer, Matthew Johnson. If you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the course website and the syllabus. This section we're going to be talking about direct marketing case study, community supported agriculture, CSA. Just kind of a very specific topic that's pretty popular with agriculture. It's been getting more and more popular, especially here in Hawaii in the past 4 to 5 years. So we're going to be talking a little bit about, how it can be used as a marketing strategy for local farms. All right, so in this module, we're going to be talking more about marketing. There's a lot of unique, interesting things that are being done in marketing agricultural farm products, especially here in Hawaii. Everything from ag tourism to marketing to schools, multi-farm CSA, which we already spoke about in the last module. So it's really about how creative you can be. So we're going to just go over some examples and some ideas to hopefully get you thinking about some potential different ways that you can market some of your ag business ideas. So the overview of the module, as I mentioned, along with CSA, there are a number of other direct and intermediate marketing strategies that growers are using to maintain the economic viability of their small farms. This module introduces students to some of the primary and innovative marketing approaches being used or explored by small-scale producers. So yeah, some of the objectives we're going to be going over: basic steps and considerations involved in direct marketing through farmers markets, roadside stand, restaurants, and retail. Also going to talk a little bit about considerations and issues involved in direct marketing through ag tourism and mail order strategies. Also talk about opportunities available through alternative intermediate marketing channels, farm to institution, collaborative ventures, and also food hubs. So one of the most well-known ways of direct marketing for farms is farmers markets. And Hawaii has seen a huge increase in farmers markets over the past 10 years. Pretty much every day of the week there's a farmers market that you can go to. And the nice thing about farmers markets is that this can be a direct and immediate way for a farm to capture cash revenue for their products. So if they're able to go set up a booth, typically sales are going to be happening right then and there, either with cash or credit card or Square options. And so it's a great opportunity for the farm to manage their cash flow. Also too, so since this is a direct form of marketing, the farmer typically is going to be capturing 100% of that consumer food dollar. Whereas if a farmer is going to be selling their product wholesale to a distributor or to a restaurant, they're not going to be getting the full value of that product, because the distributors and the restaurants need to be able to make their money as well on those products. So this is a way for the farmer to capture 100% of the consumer food dollar. But farmers markets are a lot of work, a lot of things to consider. A lot of it comes down to the location, variety of product, who else is at the market, what other products are at the market, and also the amount of traffic and flow through that market. So there has to be a lot of work on the farmers market manager side to really develop and promote so that there's a good turnout for the farmers market. And this allows the farmer to focus on the production. So, the farmer, ideally doesn't have to be promoting the farmer's market. So all they have to do is show up with really good, high quality products, knowing and trusting that the market manager has done their job to get the word out so that there will be customers there waiting to come see the farms and purchase their products. There's also a really good way for farms to test new products. A lot of farms do this. A lot of smaller farms will start at the farmers market with maybe just a few products, and so you're immediately getting that face-to-face interaction with the end user, so you can see what they like about their product, what could change. So great way, a cost-effective way to introduce any new product. And then also there's a socialization of farmer-to-farmer knowledge exchange. So you're there at the market, you're seeing what other farms are growing, how are they doing their packaging and their labeling. So a great opportunity to what we call benchmark, which is basically looking and seeing what else is being done by other farms that maybe you can adapt for your business as well. So here we have a list of, I wouldn't say this is every single farmer's market. Actually, I know it's not every farmer's market, but it's a good list of all the different markets. And you can see that there's a lot of markets, a lot of different opportunities that could actually be overwhelming for farms. So you have to be picky in choosing which markets you're going to go to in terms of how far is that market from the farm, what is the traffic of that farmer's market, is there a good amount of customers showing up there. Those are really three groups that are managing a variety of different farms. You have the Hawaii Farm Bureau, which is a nonprofit organization that actually does a lot of legislation for farms, but they also have a variety of different farms, mostly here on Oahu. Then there's a couple on Kauai as well as on the Big Island. And then there's the Farm Lovers markets, and they have their markets at Waimea Valley, Pearl Ridge, Kaka'ako, and also in Kailua. And then you have the People's Open markets, which are run by the county. So this is representing a lot of different neighborhoods throughout the island. So yeah, any day of the week, there's going to be multiple markets happening. So as a farm, there could be a lot of opportunities if farmers market is the direction that you want to go. So yeah, so as I mentioned, there's a lot of things to consider when choosing and applying to a farmer's market. I mentioned before, you have to decide how far you want to travel. If you're a farm up in Kahuku and you want to go to the KCC Farmers Market, which starts, I think, around like 7 a.m. on Saturday mornings, that's a long way to travel and an early morning and a long day for you and your staff. So this is all things to consider, that you better make sure that the returns from that market are going to validate the time and costs associated with getting you, your staff, and all of your products into town for that early morning market. Also have to figure out how many markets do you want to sell at. As we mentioned in the last slide, there are dozens of markets that you can sell your products at. So being strategic with which markets you go to is part of the process that you have to think through to see what makes sense and what's going to be the most profitable for you. You also have to check and see if there's available space. A lot of times farms will have a new product and just think they can show up at the farmer's market, but it actually can be competitive and could be waitlist to get into certain markets, especially some of the more popular ones. So you really need to do your research ahead of time and not just assume because you're a farm now and you have products that you can just show up to the farmer's market and sell those products. Also learning and understanding the customer base. And so we spoke about this before with identifying the target markets. So the customer base is going to be different from market to market. If you go to a Hawaii Farm Bureau market at KCC, there's a lot of tourists, a lot of Japanese tourists going through there. That's going to be very different than a People's Open market that they have at the back of Manoa Valley. So really things to consider is understanding who's going to those markets, and is that the kind of people that you think would want to buy your products. You also have to figure out how the market runs, right? Understanding who are the market managers. Are they doing a good job? Right? Because that's a big part of the market is how well it's being marketed and how well the flow of customers go through the space. Where is your location going to be in regards to other tents? Is your spot visible? What are the market rules? Some markets, if you are going to sell at their farmers market, they're not going to allow you to sell at other farmers markets. So that's something that you have to consider as well. And next thing to consider too is your cropping plan. Right? What's your schedule of availability of crops that you're going to have for the market? So typically, if you are going to have a booth at a farmer's market, you're expected to be there consistently. So for KCC Farmers Market as an example, it's every Saturday. So you have a booth, the market managers are expecting you to be there every Saturday with product to sell to customers. And if you don't, then there is the likelihood that you may be asked to leave and you may lose your spot that you work to get. Also thinking about EBT and SNAP, so food stamps. Is this available for customers at the market? So we spoke about this before as part of the Farm Bill program. So some of the markets are allowing EBT SNAP users to get farmers market dollars that they can use for purchasing products at the markets. So that's something to consider as well. All right, so now that you're at the farmer's market, there's things to consider on how to properly and best sell the products that you have at the market. So first and foremost, quality is very important. You want to make sure that the different crops and food items that you have look clean and that they're ready to sell. And this is a big part of the customers are coming to the farmer's market and they're visually looking at the different booths to see what products look the best. Presentation is another very important thing that not all farms spend the time to really do. I mean, it's already a lot of work of growing, harvesting, packaging, and then getting your products to the market. And sometimes you'll see farms just kind of dump all of their products on the table and say, hey, there you go for it. And sometimes that works. But really thinking about the customer experience when they're coming to the market, you know, is it nicely stacked? Are you using certain kinds of containers? It's pretty popular for farms using the wooden crates, looking like it just came straight from the farm. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to make it look visually pleasant and pleasurable. So obviously the quality of the product needs to be good, but then also how is it packaged and shown on the table that you have is very important. Also to consider too, are you going to be using packaging, any kind of labeling? So do you have a banner with the farm logo? Do you have flyers available explaining the farm? Also talking about any displays. So you have a board, a price board showing the different products, labeling what they are, just making it as clear and as easy as possible for customers to kind of understand who you are, who is the farm, what are the products. Obviously, if you have any kind of certifications, like an organic certification, you want to be able to display that and show that off. So then we also have to consider customer service. All right, so once again, this is a whole nother step, a whole nother skill set that as a farm you need to be bringing to the farmer's market. So are you communicating with customers as they go by? Or are you just sitting in a chair, not making eye contact, not really trying to sell any of your products? So customers are there because they enjoy the process of meeting their farmers, get to know your farmer. So that's a big reason why they're there and what they're doing. And if you're not really engaging with your customers, it's definitely going to affect your potential sales. Other things to consider too, no one really likes it, but it has to be done, the paperwork and accounting. All right, so you still need to keep track of what kind of sales are you having at the farmer's market. Also need to be thinking about tax, general excise tax. So even if you're not charging your customers directly for the general excise tax, for all revenues that you bring in, you do need to be paying that general excise tax. And the Department of Taxation has been known to go around to the farmers markets to ensure that taxes are being properly recorded. So a lot of things to consider, and also the transportation and setup. So you have to have everything prepared probably the night before the market. Have your trucks, then you have to drive your trucks down to the market, set up a tent, set up the table, set up the display. It's all a lot of work around making those sales. So these are all things to consider to make sure that any farmer's market that you go to is hopefully going to be worth your time and a profitable venture. So another thing to consider is the pricing strategy for all the products that you have at the market. How do you know what to sell your products for? So there's a few different areas to take into consideration to determine the price. So first and foremost, you got to make sure that you're covering your costs, and then also that the price that you're offering the customer is willing to pay. So it's figuring out that balance. So the first step, we're going to be talking about in future modules, is really knowing your cost of production. So if you're going to be selling a product for $3 a pound, you need to know as best as you can what are your total costs for that pound of product that you're selling. So you're going to be selling that for $3 a pound, but it actually costs you $4 a pound. Well, that's not a good pricing strategy. You need to either figure out how to reduce your costs or see if you're going to be able to raise the price of the product that you're selling. Also, you need to be, as I mentioned before, benchmarking, looking around and seeing what are other similar farms selling their products for. So if you're selling avocados at $10 a pound and your neighbor is selling avocados for only $3 a pound, you're going to have a tough time selling your avocados unless you're able to display a significant difference, higher value in your avocados than your neighbor. So looking around and seeing what everyone else is doing. So it doesn't mean going to market and try and undercut the price of everyone else there, because you'll very quickly run into maybe some not so happy neighbors, but also, does that balance out with what your costs of production are? And also, this is a farmer's market. You have to work with everyone else that's there, and you want to be as good a neighbor as possible. But also, in addition to covering your costs, you want to make sure you're actually making money, because once again, we described all the work that it takes to get to a farmer's market. So are you able to have a 30 to 50% profit margin is really a good price of what you're looking for. So you take all of your costs for that product and you're able to add on that additional margin so that you're making money, because that is a big reason of why you are at the farmer's market, to try and make money. Makes sense. And yet there's still even more work that you have to do at the farmer's market. So you still have to advertise and customer communication. So having that relationship with your customers, and we went over this in the business model canvas, how do you let your customers know where you're going to be? So a few different strategies that work are email newsletters that you can send out on a weekly basis, talking about some of the products that you're growing, where you're going to be, where people can get your products. If you're going to be at a certain farmer's market, you want to let as many people know as possible that, hey, yeah, we're going to be there. So here we have also using social media and having a website. So this is a picture of Kahumana Organic Farms from their Instagram feed, talking about they're going to be at the Farm Bureau Blaisdell Center Market on Wednesday from 4 to 7. And a great, beautiful picture of all the products that they're going to be offering. So that's a good way to kind of let your fans and potential customers know where you're going to be. Another good strategy too is providing recipes. So maybe you have some items. So we see here in Kahumana's picture, it looks like they have some radishes. So maybe it'd be good to have some recipes on what to do with those radishes. So a lot of times people are going to be asking, hey, I'm not sure what this is. What do I do with it? So that's a good strategy to have recipes ready to go to hand out to encourage people to cook with the products that they're purchasing from you. And then also giving out food samples. It's another good idea. So if you are going to be selling radishes, maybe you have some radishes already cut up that people can dip in a sauce or something so they can get a taste and get familiar with the product. And also, they're receiving something from you, so hopefully they'll feel more encouraged to go ahead and buy from you. All right, so another thing to consider is money management and also customer service again. There's always customer service. So that's a thing when it gets busy at a farmer's market, people are going to be coming up and hopefully making a lot of purchases. So you got to figure out how you're going to be handling that. So the nice thing we mentioned before about a farmer's market is a lot of the business is going to be in cash. So you need to have a little mini bank that you're able to get change for customers. So that's going to be a quick and efficient way for you to do that. Also, we mentioned too before the EBT SNAP vouchers. So some farmers markets are using the food stamps. So we need to be able to receive that and also be able to provide your products for people that are using EBT and SNAP. And then also being able to accept credit and debit cards. So a real popular way that vendors are handling that is by using Square, which works with your smartphone as a way to accept credit cards. And there's other ways to accept credit cards as well, but this is something to consider. How are your customers going to be paying, and are you going to be able to support them with that? So yeah, check out the course website, as I said, any written assignments, and yeah, you have yourself a good day.